Good Monday morning to you. It is Monday, January 13th. I'm your host, Amy Bush on Siegfried, and welcome to the Monday Minute edition of the podcast. Let's dive into the NFL this weekend. It was wild card weekend, and we had some great games, but none other than the Eagles game, where there was a moment on the sideline that quite notable. A.J. Brown for the Eagles was having a quiet game and not the impact you'd expect from him. He only had 10 yards in the whole game. And near the end, Fox, who was broadcasting the game, panned over to him on the bench where he was reading a book, which is not exactly what you expect to see of an NFL player on the sidelines in a playoff game. But it wasn't just any book. It was called Inner Excellence, Train Your Mind for Extraordinary Performance and the Best Life Possible by Jim Murphy. It's a motivational book that focuses on mindfulness, particularly for athletes. Regardless of AJ's performance, Eagles ousted the Green Bay Packers and will move on to the next round of the playoffs. And much like the first round of the college football playoffs, the first round of games in the NFL playoffs this weekend were not really that close. So we'll have more on what's happening next weekend at the NFL playoffs on our weekend preview edition of the podcast on Friday. Stay tuned for that. Now, speaking of the national championship for college football, it is now set. Friday night solidified the game between Notre Dame and Ohio State on January 20th. This week's Wednesday Wisdom podcast will be all about the big game, which is a week from today. Jack Sawyer, who plays for Ohio State, well, he had a lifelong dream come true as his team beat Texas. He's a born and raised Buckeye fan in Columbus, and he sealed their spot in the national championship as he sacked his former roommate, Quinn Ewers, and returned the fumble for a touchdown to give Ohio State the big win. Now, over on the Notre Dame side, their head coach, Marcus Freeman, who has done a phenomenal job with the Fighting Irish, will become the first Black head coach to coach in a college football national championship game on the 20th, which also happens to be Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Let's move on to women's college basketball. Pitt completed a comeback of the ages against SMU, winning 72 after a must-see third quarter performance. They were down 49-18 at halftime. The Panthers mounted a 32-point comeback, tying the largest comeback in college women's basketball history. Now, here's what's happening this week. Tonight, the Minnesota Vikings LA Rams game has been moved to Arizona, and the Cardinals have gone above and beyond. The Cardinals sent two of the team's 777 planes to LA, picking up the Rams team, their staff, their families, 6 dogs, and 2 cats, bringing them to Arizona for the game tonight. The Monday Night Football game was supposed to be in LA, but has since been moved because of the fires. Also happening right now, Australian Open. It's the first major tournament in tennis for the season, happening right now in Australia. So tune in for that. And of course, Novak Djokovic going for a record number of wins there. The Los Angeles Lakers and LA Clippers are slated to resume basketball play today after pausing due to the fires. And if you need to pick me up, either catch our Smile-Worthy Sports on social from last night. It's a great video of a super fan dog. But you can also check out the roster for this year's Puppy Bowl, which was just released. There are more adoptable puppy players than ever, with a record 142 puppies from 80 shelters across 40 states and 2 countries. Of course, this will air on the same day as the Super Bowl, February 9th, on the Animal Planet. Have a great week ahead. If you want more of anything we talked about, check out lastnightsgame.com. And if you want a daily conversation starter, head over to our social at Last Night's Game, where we'll be always covering something great for you to talk about in the world of sports. Have a fantastic week.